Do you want to live more sustainably but aren't sure where to start or how it fits in with your everyday living? The ReNewy Living Podcast simplifies sustainability so you can feel confident to take small, meaningful actions that fit into your lifestyle. Based on the lands of the Awabakal and Worimi people in Newcastle, Australia, you'll learn how to live lighter on our planet through practical ideas, stories from like-minded people, and examples of businesses doing great things. With an open heart and mind, join me, Marty Lee, as we explore how to consume less, build stronger community connections, and thrive in your neighbourhood, wherever you call home. Welcome to the ReNewy Living Podcast. Hello, my name's Marty Lee, and welcome to the ReNewy Living Podcast. In this episode, I'd love you to meet Rhi Mitchell, a proud Mununjali woman, marine scientist and founder of Saltwater Sistas and based in Coffs Harbour along beautiful coastal New South Wales. Rhi combines wellbeing, leadership and science to inspire change and protect our oceans and environment for future generations. In our chat, we talk about how caring for country starts with understanding our connection to the land and waters and how that connection influences our well-being. We'll also explore the rhythms of nature and how they guide us to treading a little lighter on the planet. G'day, Rhi.
Hey, Marty.
It was really lovely to meet up with you, or sort of in a roundabout way, at the Social Impact in the Regions Conference in Grafton this year.
Yeah, that was an awesome conference.
It was a great conference because it was only relatively small. It's in a regional community and that's the whole purpose of that. And one of the great connecting ways that even though we didn't meet in person was when we first arrived, they took a photo and then you had to write who you were and what particular domain that you were in. And I saw that you were in the environmental domain and I went, oh, yeah, I'd love to have a talk to you.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the awesome parts about it, meeting like-minded people doing awesome things in communities.
In your community, so you're in the Coffs Harbour community, what matters most to you and your community about needing to live sustainably?
I think from being an Aboriginal woman, I just think growing up I was taught to live sustainably by my elders and by my family. I also grew up in a small town called Bellingen in New South Wales. So I lived there for 20 years and it's just a small community. There was about 3,000 people growing up. We lived by the river and it was just a really big community belief. I think it's just we're kind of like an eco town to look after the environment. So going to primary school and high school, that's what we were taught as well. And we have some beautiful waterways out there, some beautiful rivers. So it's just something I've grown up to be passionate about. And what's important to me to live sustainably is protecting the environment because as First Nation people, we were always taught that the environment becomes before us. And if we look after the environment, it looks after us and we can live a good life, a life of wellness.
So taking that knowledge that you have from your elders and your growing up and being in Bellingen, how did that transfer into you in your current community in Coffs Harbour?
Well, Coffs Harbour is about half an hour away. So we've got the beaches here and I moved here in my 20s. And because I'd just grown up so close to the river and been at the river every day, when I came here, it was all beaches. And so I just started exploring the beaches and just fell in love with the ocean. And so once I get in love with something, I kind of become obsessed. So I was going to the beach and I was just walking on the beach and swimming. And then I started snorkeling and then I started scuba diving. And then I was like, okay, I need to be a marine scientist. So then I did a degree in marine science. And so that's how I think just my love for the environment. And we did grow up going to the beach as well, mostly at the river. But I think just living close to the ocean just inspired me to look after it and be a part of it.
Yeah. So the rivers are very different to the oceans and the oceans is a lot more powerful. And I like how you've just gone from one step of I'm just a sand person to I'm a swimmer to then the next step of a snorkeler to the next step of scuba diver and then, wow, becoming a marine scientist.
Yeah. We're so lucky on the Coffs Coast because we've got the Solitary Islands here. It's really beautiful. We've got some beautiful protected areas and we've got beautiful grey nurse out here and some amazing coral reefs. So it's just super inspiring to see the ecosystem out here and it just makes you want to protect it.
Tell us about the solitary islands and the habitat around that and why it's important to protect something like that.
The Solitary Islands, so we've got the East Australian current that comes through here, which is really beautiful. We've got so much marine life out there, so many different corals, starfish, turtles, rays. It's just a really beautiful area to live. And the corals are like bright and abundant. So there is a Solitary Islands Marine Park and it protects the coastline between Sand and River, Coffs Harbour and the Solitary Islands. So we have both tropical and temperate species that thrive here with over 530 fish species, 90 hard coral species, more than 700 mollusk species, and at least 35 shark and ray species.
Wow, that's massive. I didn't even realise that coral sits so low along the coastline.
Yep. And we also, the Solitary Islands also protects the densest coverage of anemone and anemone fish worldwide and habitat that acts as the northernmost extent for breeding giant cuttlefish.
So tell us about, like, when you go scuba diving or snorkeling, how much of that do you see and what emotions does it bring out for you?
You see it all. It's really beautiful. On a really nice day when the visibility is really good, like if you get 30 meters of visibility, it's just crystal clear out there. And my favorite marine animals to see out in the Solitary Islands is probably the wobbegong shark. I like to see different types of octopus out there. I love nudibranchs. They're some of my favorite marine animals.
I've never heard of that one.
Nudibranchs, they're tiny like sea slugs and they're super cute. They're like, can be the size of smaller than your palm. And they come in all different shapes and colours. You should check it out, Google it. It's pretty amazing. And they're hard to spot, so it's always fun when you find them. And I just love the grey nurse sharks because they can look pretty big and they might look scary, but they're super docile. They just swim around you. You know, you can be around 10 or 20 of them at a time and they'll just literally just swim past you with not a care in the world. Because they're kind of more active at night. They're pretty docile during the day. But it's a reminder for people that sharks aren't as scary as we think they are.
They've got a very important role in the ecosystem.
Yeah, they're the cleaners of our waterways. They're the cleaner of our ocean. So, you know, they might eat animals that have diseases or that might be sick or passing away, and it just like cleans up that ocean for us. So they're really important.
How many years have you been looking underwater?
I've been diving for about 10 years now, scuba diving. I did my open waters at the jetty dive here. They're really good in Coffs Harbour. So open waters is like the first certificate you can get so you can go scuba diving. You know, I saved up my money because it's not cheap if you want to do diving. Diving's a very expensive sport. So I saved up my money and I was super excited and I had a friend come along with me. And the first couple of days you go into the pool and you do like a day in the pool where you learn how to dive underwater. And then you do one day of like being at the computer. And then you do a day of going scuba diving out at the Solitary Islands. And the first day I saw a grey nurse, I was terrified. But later on, I just realised like how chill they are and beautiful. But the first time you see a shark can be a bit overwhelming. But it's just such a beautiful experience. And once you start scuba diving, you realise how small your problems are in the real world. Like, you know, if you're having a hard day at work or if there's bills or anything, like when you go out diving, it's a really good time to close off and you just think how magical is this world we live in. We're so lucky. And then that's where my thoughts are like, how can I protect this? And how can I show the future generation or other women about this? Because it's just such an amazing part of our world that a lot of people don't get to see.
Yeah, and we don't, because if you're not like a swimmer person or someone who is inclined to put your head under the water and have a look and realization of what's under there, I know that I've done some snorkeling and I can feel my heart rate go up substantially when I'm snorkeling, even though nothing's going to get me. But it's really good to have eyes underwater like you have. In those last 10 years, have you noticed a difference between perhaps water quality, types of animals that are in the ocean? Anything?
Definitely like around the beaches. I've noticed a lot more litter on the beaches. So any beach that I go to, there's always rubbish absolutely everywhere, especially microplastic. So that's something that's really huge because it does get into our waterways and it does affect the marine animals. A lot of marine animals mistake it for food. So I've seen a lot of news articles and locally with turtles, either dying or, having to go to rehabilitation because they have been affected by the plastic, either caught around their neck or they've eaten it. So pollution's a huge thing. Here, we've got a bit of our solitary islands protected, but we want it more protected. We want it 30% protected. So I'm currently on a group called Friends of the Solitary Islands. So we're trying to get more of the area protected, and having more areas protected means that the animals can thrive, and there's not fish in there. You can't fish there. There's a lot of things that you can't do. And it's super important we have more sanctuaries.
So when you say like 30% is protected, is that the land and the waterways? What does that look like?
So a sanctuary zone is a protected area within marine parks, and it prohibits fishing and other activities such as mining and collecting to safeguard biodiversity and natural habitats.
Right. So the sanctuary zone is really important. And what you're trying to do as part of the group, the network that you're in, is to increase that sanctuary zone for the protection of animals in the waters.
Yes.
How important is that to your community? How many people are involved in something like that?
We have quite a few people involved in this. I've just started this group. I'm being a part of this group. I was invited to this group, but we've got different marine scientists involved, different conservationists, and different Aboriginal community groups involved. So it is really important, and we're trying to get the whole of Coffs Harbour behind us just so that we can speak to the government, because ultimately it's up to them. So just making sure that we have that support from the wider community.
Yeah, and it shows how important community needs to be as the number one priority. A community who understands that this is a problem and it needs to be saved, or at least a better solution put into place in order to then take it to the government. To say to them, this is the problem and this is how many people are behind this problem.
Have you seen the David Attenborough documentary called Ocean?
I have not. I feel like I need to.
Yeah, it's really empowering. So he just put out his documentary. He's 99 years old. So this might be one of his last documentaries. And it's called Ocean, and it's about why we need to protect the ocean. And he believes that out of all of his years being, a documentary maker and everything that he's done, all the scuba diving, everything he's done with the ocean and the world, he thinks that the ocean, if we look after the ocean, we'll look after the earth. Without the ocean, we don't have the earth. And we just showed that in Coffs Harbour. We had a free showing. We had a lot of community people show up. And that's kind of where our work about the sanctuaries and the islands is being inspired by, just to really get that movement happening.
So important because, as I mentioned earlier, the oceans are something that people, because it's not your everyday, you're not there all the time. It's only really for people who are lucky enough to be on the water or in the water. So having people who represent the voices for the oceans and the animals in there is a greater understanding of how people can go and protect the ocean.
Absolutely.
How does all of that then blend in with your work within the community?
So my work with Saltwater Sistas, I started it 6 years ago. And I started it I always worked for government organisations, and I really wanted to do something a bit more like holistic, something a little bit more just like in our culture, we work a different way to a lot of kind of like government organisations and structures. So I just wanted to do, something really authentic and something that was run by an Aboriginal person and by community. Because a lot of times people come in and want to run the show, or they want to tell you how to do things. But when you're in community and you've grown up in community, you have a different kind of knowledge. So I started it to do, it was to start doing marine stuff, because even though I wasn't a marine scientist, then I just love the ocean. I wanted to teach people about the environment from a cultural perspective. And then wellbeing, because I was a young Aboriginal woman, and when I was a young kid, like I'd been through a lot just through colonization and just through, unfortunately, like racism and like not knowing who I was and not having the resources and not feeling like I had the same opportunities as other people. So I started off because I wanted to teach young Indigenous girls that they can be who they wanted to be, that they can have an education, that they can be powerful, that they can be confident in themselves, and just teach them how important the environment is for our well-being. Because once I really got into the environment and culture, that's when I feel like I really started to have self-worth and I was thriving. So I started 6 years ago, and I do a lot of workshops in high schools. So I do a lot of workshops for especially Aboriginal teens, but I do work with everybody. So most of the local schools I work in, and I might do like a skincare workshop, an eco-friendly skincare workshop. So I use all eco products, and we make like body scrubs and body perfumes. And that's just about, young women and women looking after their skin, but doing it in a way that also is like in balance with nature. I run a reef school through Saltwater Sistas. So that's for youth. So that's a 3-week program. And on the weekends, they come and learn how to surf and paddleboard and snorkel. And they learn from elders about the ocean. We do beach cleanups. They learn about recycling and microplastics. So that's kind of like my work. And I also write like scientific papers. And I'm just writing a children's book at the moment about starfish. So that will be published soon. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I just do free beach cleanups, like I volunteer cleanups in Coffs Harbour and surrounding areas. And we're learning how to turn like plastic into other materials like jewelry. And I just started this club called the Sunday Snorkel Club. And it's just where community members can come along and learn to snorkel. And we find different areas and we take photos of different things and we do beach cleanups.
That is cool. You offer a lot for the community in Coffs Harbour, and you're bringing your knowledge with you. What kind of stories can you share that are based on First Nations stories about community, place, and taking care of the environment?
I just see like when I get elders to come along and speak to the young people, they share stories of how they grew up here and how it was a different way of living, that they would live off the land. So that's where they would get their, food from. That's where basically they'd spend most of their time, and it was protected and it was cared for, and they'd only ever take what they needed. So it was sustainable in the way that they were living. And we also, in our culture, we thank the environment for what we have. So if you do take a fish, and you're taking the fish to feed your family, you thank the environment and you realize how important even just that one fish is. And we were taught in culture as well that you use all of the fish, where now it's really overfished. So just like sustainable practices like that. And you can just see young people, especially I work with a lot of young people that have been in and out of like juvenile justice or have been in foster care, and they've kind of been displaced from culture and the land. And you can just see when they're listening to an elder how much respect they have for them and how it can change their way of thinking. And I've seen young people going from being really involved in crime and just get in trouble a lot, but coming to the programs and just becoming a kid again that's connected to nature, that loves the environment, that, they come along swimming, they come surfing, and you can just see their whole demeanour change. And you can see that they feel connected. And I feel like a big part of connecting to community, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal, once you connect to country, you can connect to community. That's what a lot of my programs are about.
They're so woven together. And I can hear that even you're saying about if you have a healthy environment, healthy planet, there's this strong correlation between that and healthy people. And that healthy people can mean like healthy in mind, healthy in body as well.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really sad to drive around everywhere and see a lot of pollution, like a lot of rubbish just on the roads and on the highways. And you want your community to be proud of where they live and, they where they are, and look after the animals as well. Because it's like not only the marine animals, but like also I see like the turtles in the river and our different native life, like our native birds. And why wouldn't you want to protect that? Why wouldn't you want to live in a clean community, in a community that's connected and, stronger together?
Absolutely. I was listening to a podcast with an ABC Haywire participant, Jaden Sheridan, and he started Gnarly Neighbours. And the concept was, you just for him to meet at the local skate park with a whole bunch of skateboards. And over time, what he's found out, or not what he's found out, but perhaps what he's teaching young people is about respect. And it's like, well, this is our place, this is our space when they talk about the skate park, and we need to respect our space. So please keep it tidy. And so there's that whole litter cleanup that he's got as well. And it just,
That's so cool.
it is cool, isn't it? Because he said in that podcast, and I'll have to put the link in the show notes for you, but he was saying, yeah, it is all just about respect, and it's probably the cleanest skate park in Victoria and Australia.
That's so cool because I clean up the skate parks here too, like in my community in Coffs. So I saw him come here a couple of weeks ago on the news. My friends were sharing it. So I thought that was really cool that people really enjoyed him coming to Coffs and teaching the young ones how to skate. But if he can come and teach the skate parks here how to clean up too, because our skate parks are pretty trashed. And I think a lot of it has to do with like we're close to KFC and close to big fast food places. So I'd love the kids to look after the skate parks because they're such a used area and, you know, it brings a lot of joy to young people. But just seeing all the pollution, that's something that needs to change for sure. So if he wants to do a collab or something, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So
because I don't even go to the skate park. I don't even use the skate park, but I go and clean up the skate park.
yeah, good on you for doing that. But it also shows that perhaps you are the leader in respecting the natural environment in other spaces.
Oh, definitely. Like, we don't just do the beach, we do the rivers. Like, I go out home to Bellingen all the time and do cleanups out at the river. And because it's unfortunate, a lot of people will complain about it, locals, and they'll complain that there's a lot of tourists and there's a lot of rubbish, but no one does anything. So that's why I'm trying to teach the younger community, like, even if you're just out there having fun, just, you know, I was talking to Take 3 for the Sea the other day. I did a masterclass with them, and it's just like, even just take 3 pieces of rubbish wherever you are. And I know that people think, oh, it's not my problem, but community is there for everyone. I think we all have a responsibility.
Yeah, we absolutely do all have a responsibility in one little way. And I think that's where Take 3 does really well because it helps to simplify. You just need to take 3 items. And of course, if you take more, fabulous. But if you just start with 3, it's that one step along the way. So you've been recognised for a variety of awards since 2021, including the prize for outstanding ocean protection leadership, which is the Valerie Taylor Award. She was an Australian marine pioneer. She was also known as a really well-known underwater storyteller, shark researcher, etc. But how have your awards that you've gained helped you become a stronger community leader who cares about people and the planet?
Yeah, it's always really humbling to get an award, and I'm always really thankful. The one with Valerie Taylor, I was invited to this event called the Ocean Lovers Festival in Bondi. I think it was at the start of the year, and I was able to speak to Sydney schools about my marine science work and about Saltwater Sistas, so that was super inspiring. And then Valerie Taylor was actually speaking at the event as well, so of course I had to go there. And when they were asking the audience if they had any questions, like, I definitely had to talk to Valerie Taylor. And I just let her know how inspiring she was and how I followed her for years. And it was really cool to meet her. And then her team came up and said, like, we've got this, like, these prizes that we'd like to award, like, people doing amazing things. We'd love you to apply for it. And so I got that award and I was really excited. And I've been able to get some funding to do some more work in local schools. So I'm really excited about that. And then they also sent me some Wild Lab eDNA tests. And that's so that you can test the ocean to see what kind of marine life is living in there. So it's going to really help future research as well.
Wow, can you tell us more about that? Because that sounds fascinating. I've never heard of something like that. And eDNA.
So yeah, this is what they've sent me. So it's called the Wilder Lab eDNA.
Standard kit, and it's in a bit of a snap block kind of pouch.
So it is testing services provided by the company called Wild Lab, and it uses kits for sampling and advanced lab analysis to monitor species. So basically what I got from it is, it just tests the water to show you what kind of marine species are living in there. And people that I've spoken to have tested and they've realised, oh, there's these different marine animals living here that we didn't realise. And it sends you back like this whole sheet of all the different marine animals. It's really cool, like graphs to show you what's in there. And then that's really good information if you're trying to protect an area or create a sanctuary, that you can say, this is what marine animals are here. So they've never really been able to analyse waters in that way. Like, it's more like you've had to go and see for yourself. But this sampling, gives you the water samples that you can actually just test.
And it gives you the data and the metrics so you can see, so other people can see why it's important.
Yeah, and it identifies the presence of threatened or elusive species, and it also monitors for invasive species. So that's really important. And it evaluates the overall health of an environment. And also it helps you understand the effects of human activities or natural disasters on an ecosystem.
Okay, which are all really important when it comes to wildlife in the ocean as well as on land. So those kind of things have been instrumental in you becoming a stronger leader in your community. Is there anything else that has helped you become a stronger leader?
Yeah, I think winning the awards is really helpful. Like, it shows people that what I'm doing is meaningful and it has purpose. And it's just strengthened my confidence to speak up for the sea, to teach more young people, and to keep blending science, culture, and wellbeing in everything I do.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. I mean, everyone does make a big difference, but it's nice to hear from a leader in your community that you're helping other people make that big difference too.
Thank you.
What are the common topics people want to understand more about when you're speaking to people in your community?
So people often want to understand like their everyday choices that affect the ocean. So from plastic use to sunscreen, from what seafood they should be eating. So I just try and teach people about how to look after the environment, like through my workshops and online resources. And I just try and teach them in a fun and hands-on way. Like I was telling you, like, we're trying to learn how to recycle plastic at the moment, and how to turn that into jewelry. So just through programs like that, teaching them about microplastics and waste reduction. And I do that through my reef school that I was telling you about. But I think they just want to know how culture connects with country, and what they can learn from elders and what they can learn from community. Yeah, just kind of what's happening in the marine space at the moment, like what animals are being endangered, and like how are the coral reefs going.
Yeah, tell us, how are the coral reefs going and the endangered animals in that area?
Well, I think in our area, we're pretty lucky. We've got a pretty nice sanctuary zone, but we are just trying to expand on it. When I went over to the Great Barrier Reef, I could tell there was a lot of bleached coral over there. I've been over there a couple of times now, so that was really sad to see the difference there compared to here. So there is a lot of work to do in that space. I don't work over in that area, but I am trying to get the solitary islands more protected here. And yeah, we're pretty lucky here, but we just want to make that sanctuary a bit bigger.
What about the endangered animals? What have you noticed in your area?
I think we're pretty lucky. We did have the grey nurse were endangered, but they seem to be coming back because of the sanctuary zones. So we're pretty lucky here that I feel like things are thriving.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Very reassuring.
Yes.
What about the impact with young people? So you do a lot of the schools programs. Do you have young people come back to you or see you in the community and show that they're actually now making a bigger difference, or have said, yep, I'm really feeling that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I worked in basically all the schools feel that I constantly have kids come up to me and say it made a real difference in my life. Like, it's really cool to see you as a First Nation person and as someone that's really, you can just see that you're really inspired and you really want to protect the ocean and the environment. So I've had young Indigenous girls that have been on my program and then they've come to work for me. So at the moment, I've got a young 15-year-old girl and she's doing marine science at high school and she's super passionate about the ocean. And before she met me, she was always drawing marine animals, and she even had like a marine science book that she created herself. And then she just moved here to Coffs like a year ago, and she wasn't connected to community, and like she didn't know too many people. When she found my program the first day she met me, she's like, I love you. And she's like, I just love everything you do. And then because she's just so passionate, and I just love helping little sisters, so she comes and helps with my programs often. And she shares little facts that she knows that I'm blown away because I'm a marine biologist, and I'm like, I didn't even know that. So that's really cool. And I've had other girls joined my group, and I've got a lot of women that volunteer to help Saltwater Sistas as well. And the schools, like I've seen them run projects afterwards and say, like, thank you to Saltwater Sistas, like we're now doing recycling at the school, or we're now doing like cleanup. So yeah, and I've got like merch and stuff, and it's really cute to see people walk around Coffs with the Saltwater Sistas merch and like talk about how they're passionate about the ocean and what they want to do to look after country.
Oh, that's brilliant. And it shows how you're making such a big local impact in your area.
Yes, thank you. I do it. I love that. And I love getting the feedback and the emails and the messages just to say like how much it means to them. And a lot of people have come to me feeling out of place, like they've just moved here or they've never really gotten out or they're a bit shy or, like a lot of Aboriginal people are quite like reserved as well. So seeing how they open up and how they've met elders and how they've met community and how the environment's brought them so much joy.
Thanks, Rhi, for your time today. What would be your one simple tip to pass on to others about what they can do in their community?
And please pick up rubbish. I just love seeing a clean community and a happy community. And I like seeing wildlife thrive. So if you see rubbish, just please pick it up. Just love your community that you're in. Like you'll feel so much prouder and so much happier. And you can meet friends as well. Whenever I do cleanups, I always meet heaps of people and they're like the nicest people you would ever meet. So you're not just making connection to country, but connection to community.
Thanks, Rhi, for all of your insight on how you show how bringing culture, community and place and space together can all be woven together to provide a much nicer and healthier planet and also a stronger community.
Thank you, Marty. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the ReNewy Living Podcast. I hope you're feeling more confident about taking a localised and actionable approach to living sustainably. If this episode has inspired you to take simple action, please follow the ReNewy Living Podcast so you can catch every episode. We'd love it if you could share this episode with your friends. It's a great way to spread the word and help more people join the conversation about living sustainably. You can even send me an email with the episode that really made it for you. Hearing your positive actions for change helps me understand how these stories work within our shared communities. Head over to my website, renewyliving.com.au for the show notes and blog posts from this episode. I look forward to sharing more stories from the people of Newcastle as we delve into our community's diverse social and environmental practices for positive planetary change from a localised perspective.